From the ancient pages of the Garuda Purana comes a lesson that feels more relevant today than ever before. We humans are gifted with 5 senses: sight, touch, smell, sound, and taste. They help us experience the world. But what we often forget is that these same senses can also control us, deceive us, and even destroy us. We use them every day, but rarely stop to ask, how powerful are they? How much of our life is driven by their cravings? What if I told you that a deer dies chasing sound, a fish is hooked by taste, a moth burns for sight, an elephant is trapped by touch, and a bee suffocates because of smell? Each of these creatures was destroyed by just one sense. But we humans, we chase all 5, all the time. What happens when we become slaves to every pleasure? What happens to the human who runs after them all at once? In this video, I will explain the deeper meaning behind this ancient wisdom and why mastering your senses might just save your soul.
Mrigaha Shriglaha Patangascha Minaha Madhukarastada Eko Guna Viseshena Badananti tu Naradipam.
Translation of this verse, which means the deer, the jackal, the moth, the fish, and the bee, each one is lured to death by a single sense object. How then can a man who is attached to all 5 sense objects escape destruction? This powerful verse is a moral teaching from ancient Indian wisdom, often quoted in scriptures and Puranas as a warning against uncontrolled sensual indulgence. Each animal represents destruction due to overindulgence in one specific sense. The deer. In the stillness of the forest, the hunter doesn't run, he simply plays the flute. Its melody, sweet and hypnotic, weaves through the trees like a spell. And the deer, a peaceful innocent, lifts its ears, drawn not by fear but by enchantment. Step by step, it moves toward the sound. Unaware, it walks into the jaws of death. One moment of pleasure, enchanted by sound, and life is lost. Sound destroyed the deer, such is the power of sound. The second is an elephant. The elephant is mighty and majestic, yet not immune to desire. Tempted by the touch of a mate or lured by human traps dressed in disguise, it follows its craving into a pit carved by poachers. Its strength becomes its weakness, its longing becomes its fall. Overwhelmed by touch and charmed by lust, elephant follows desire straight into a poacher's trap. Touch destroyed the elephant. Once a source of comfort becomes a chain of bondage. The third is moth. The night is dark, but there is light, the flickering flame of a lamp. To the moth, it is not just fire, it is beauty. It dances around it, hypnotized by its glow. But beauty can burn. One closer flutter, and the wings that flew free are now ashes in the wind. Sight, when not guided by wisdom, leads to destruction. The fourth is the fish. In the silent waters, the bait gleams. It smells sweet, it promises taste. The fish, driven by hunger, snaps at it without thought. A moment of pleasure, and the hook pierces deep. The more it struggles, the tighter it is bound. Taste, just a drop, yet it drowns a fish life. The fifth is the bee. Bee is surrounded by the flowers, drunk on fragrance. It goes deeper and deeper into the lotus, collecting nectar, greedy for more. But the sun sets and the petals close. The flower that once invited now becomes a tomb. Even fragrance, sweet and soft, can trap the greedy. Vedic scriptures say each animal falls because of one sense. But what about us humans? We chase all 5, sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, endlessly, blindly, desperately. With our eyes, we consume everything. Not just nature or beauty, but scenes we should never see. We stare at vulgar ads, adult scenes in films, and endless social media reels. Images that pollute our minds and stay long after the screen turns off. We forget the eyes are not just a window to the world, they are also a doorway to the soul. With our ears, we flood ourselves with noise. Loud, aggressive music, gossip that poisons the mind. Songs with no meaning, just rhythm and lust. We hear so much, but listen so little. Rarely do we hear silence or the sacred sound of truth. With our nose, we chase fragrance. The smell of food on every street corner, synthetic perfumes in every shop. Tempting, inviting, but many smells trigger cravings we don't need. A scent was meant to guide the breath, not control it. With our tongue, we eat beyond hunger. Junk food, spicy snacks, sugary treats, anytime, every time. Our taste buds dominate our choices, while our stomach screams for mercy. And slowly, silently, our health withers away. With skin we can touch, we long to feel something. Warmth, closeness, thrill. But often that desire turns dangerous. We crave the softness of a woman's skin, not out of love but lust, not with respect but with hunger. We want to touch, not to connect, but to consume. And in that chase we cross boundaries, we forget dignity, we lose control, even of ourselves. What was meant to be sacred becomes a sin. What was meant for love becomes an addiction. Touch can heal, but when guided by lust it only wounds, both others and ourselves. And then we wonder why our hearts are restless, why peace runs away from us, even when pleasure surrounds us, because we forgot. The senses were never meant to lead, they were meant to follow. But today, we are the followers, slaves to sight, slaves to sound, slaves to every craving. And ancient wisdom asks us, if even a deer can die for sound and a fish for taste, what happens to the human being who runs after them all? It's time to reflect, not to hate the senses, but to master them, not to run outward toward the world, but to turn inward, toward the soul and to our scriptures which give hope, they show the way. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, like King Ambarisha, who lived in the world but ruled his senses, his eyes saw only the deity form of the Lord, his ears heard only Krishna's glories, his tongue spoke the truth and tasted only prasadam, food offered in devotion. His hands served the devotees, his mind never left the feet of Lord Krishna. And because of this, even the wrath of the great sage Durvasa could not touch him. This is what it means to be free, to live not for the senses, but through them in service to God. As the Bhagavad Gītā says, one who is not disturbed by the flow of desires, they're like rivers entering the ocean. Like P.S. attains peace, not the man who strives to satisfy them all. This is the path of wisdom, walked by sages, lived by saints, and waiting for each of us. The animals remind us, don't live to feed your senses, live to awaken your soul. Because pleasure fades, but self-realization is forever. If this message stirred something in your heart, share it. Because someone out there is still chasing illusions, and your voice might help them wake up.